Thomas was very disappointed. "I must find Percy's spaceship," he whistled. So he chuffed on through the fog. Then Thomas saw another flashing light. "Hooray!" he chuffed. "There's Percy's spaceship." Thomas puffed closer and closer. But it wasn't Percy's spaceship. It was the lamp in the lighthouse flashing on and off. "Bother," puffed Thomas. But he still wanted to find Percy's spaceship, so he puffed on through the fog. Thomas was very tired, and it was very late. He had searched everywhere. How was he going to show Gordon that Percy had seen a spaceship? Then, suddenly, he saw them. These flashing lights were moving in the sky. "That must be Percy's spaceship," whistled Thomas. He was very excited. Thomas pumped his pistons and raced after the flashing lights. The spaceship was flying lower and lower in the sky. Suddenly, Thomas didn't feel tired anymore. Thomas's wheels clickety-clacked on the rails of the track to see Jeremy the plane coming in to land at the airport. "Cinders and ashes!" cried Thomas. "Jeremy the plane must be Percy's spaceship." Thomas felt very sad. He hadn't found a spaceship. Worst of all, he had let down his friend Percy. Thomas puffed away. He was so tired the mail cars felt very heavy now. "Sir Topham Hatt will be cross," sighed Thomas. "I've spent all night looking for Percy's spaceship." Thomas knew that now he couldn't deliver the mail cars on time. He needed help. So he chuffed back to Tidmouth as fast as his aching axles would spin. When Thomas arrived at Tidmouth sheds, Percy was still at the repair yard.
"How many spaceships did you find?" huffed Gordon grandly.
"It wasn't a spaceship," puffed Thomas sadly. "It was Jeremy the plane coming in to land." Thomas felt foolish, but he still had to be really useful. "Gordon, I need your help," he tooted. "You are faster and stronger than any engine. If we share the cars, the mail can still be delivered by breakfast." This made Gordon feel important, and Gordon liked feeling important. So Gordon took half the mail cars, and Thomas took the others, until all the mail was delivered by breakfast. The next night, there was no fog. "Look," Thomas tooted. "There's Jeremy the plane." He was very excited. All the engines watched Jeremy coming in to land at the airport. It was a magical sight. "I think Jeremy's better than a spaceship any day," peeped Percy. And Thomas had to agree. Here are some dots. If we join the dots, we will see one of the engines on Sir Topham Hatt's railway. I wonder which engine it is. Let's join the dots and find out. Here we go. There's a tender at the back, and there's the cab, and the dome, the funnel. Can you tell who it is yet? This engine's got 1, 2, 3, 4 wheels and one wheel arch just in front of the cab. Do you know who it is? It's Edward. Hello, Edward. Toby is puffing along his branch line. Suddenly, he sees something. There's a strange-looking shadow in the field. Toby wonders what it is. Can you guess? This shadow is long and it has 4 long arms. The 4 long arms are going slowly round in a circle. Can you guess what it is? That's right. It's a windmill. There's another shadow on the side of Farmer McColl's barn. Toby wonders what it is. Can you guess? The shape at the top looks like a hat. And there are 2 arms that stick straight out. Can you guess what it is? That's right. It's a scarecrow. Now Toby sees another shadow. This shadow is getting smaller and smaller. Toby wonders what it is. Can you guess? It's a round shape with something spinning at the top. Can you guess what it is? Of course. It's Harold the helicopter. Hello, Harold. Did you guess what all the shadows were? Toby did. Well done, everyone. The island of Sodor is a wonderful place. There are lots and lots of engines. Who's that puffing along the track? It's Diesel. Diesel is a diesel engine. He runs on diesel oil, not coal. Diesel is very proud to be the first diesel engine to arrive on the island of Sodor. He's black, with 6 wheels, and is sometimes called Devious Diesel. He enjoys telling Steamies that soon they'll all be sent to the scrapyard. One day, Diesel was at the quarry. Thomas arrived to help. Diesel decided to tease Thomas. First, he shunted Thomas under the hopper. He told Thomas he was a stinky Steamy. Then Diesel told Thomas that Sir Topham Hatt was thinking of scrapping Steamies. Thomas was worried, and that made Diesel laugh. The next day, Salty arrived with new fuel from the mainland. Diesel was very excited. The new fuel made his axles tingle. He revved his engine faster and faster. He wanted Thomas to see he was the fastest engine in the world. Suddenly, Diesel's engine coughed. Then it started to splutter. Black, smelly smoke billowed from his exhaust. The yard manager said it was the new fuel. Water must have leaked into the tanks. Diesel felt very sick. He couldn't do anything. Worse, Diesel had to wait to be rescued. Thomas arrived with some new fuel. When his tank was filled, Diesel's engine whirred and purred perfectly. Diesel thanked Thomas for making him feel better. Even Diesel likes to be really useful. One day, Diesel met Emily at the water tower. Emily was to pick up special passenger cars for Gordon. Diesel wanted to tell Emily something important. But she whooshed away huffily. When Emily arrived to pick up the cars, Diesel had taken them. Emily chased Diesel all over the island. Diesel was fast, and Diesel was devious. Emily couldn't catch him. Until finally Diesel's engine broke down. It was too old. Diesel told Emily he had taken the cars because he was upset. Gordon wasn't the only one to set a record. Diesel had set a record too. He had shunted more freight cars in one day than any other Diesel. Emily wanted Diesel to have a prize. So later, she puffed in with a brand new engine. Diesel was so happy, he forgot to be oily. Sir Topham Hatt and all his engines wanted Diesel to know he was special. Diesel had never felt special before. He even started to think that maybe Steamies weren't so bad after all. All the engines on Sodor are a bright, bold color. But this engine has been working in the coaling plant today and is covered in coal dust. How can you tell who it is? This engine has a round face and boiler. Do all the engines have round faces? No. Toby and Salty have square faces, so it can't be either of them. What else can you see? This engine has a separate coal tender at the back. Do all the other engines have a separate coal tender? No. Thomas and Percy don't, so it can't be either of them. Now look at the engine's funnel. It's very tall. What about the other engines? Do they all have tall funnels? No. Gordon and Henry have short funnels, so it can't be either of them. Who's left? Edward and James. Edward and James both have round faces, separate coal tenders, and tall funnels. It's time for this engine to have a washdown. What color can you see now? Red. So it can't be Edward. It must be James. Hello, James. Henry's lucky day. The winter holidays were coming, and a thick blanket of snow covered the island of Sodor. Snowdrifts blocked the lines, and the tracks were very slippery. The engines felt frozen from their funnels to their footplate. But Henry puffed happily through the snowy countryside. None of his lines were blocked. You are the only engine to have made your deliveries on time today, Chuff Thomas. You must have lucky trucks. Henry saw that none of the other engines were back. Maybe you're right. Maybe I do have lucky trucks, he puffed. That night, when the engines were all asleep, Henry thought how pleased he was to have lucky trucks. Now I will always be on time, puffed Henry. And that means I can be a really useful engine. But the next morning, when Henry went to the yard, his lucky trucks weren't there. Oh no, chuffed Henry. Where are my lucky trucks? Edward took them, puffed Thomas. He needed to take coal to the villages. Then Sir Topham Hatt arrived at the yard.
Henry, I've got a very important special for you, said Sir Topham Hatt. A delivery of presents has arrived at the airport. You must collect them and take them to the children in the villages.
Henry puffed to the airport. But soon he was in trouble. Gordon's Hill was very icy. Every time Henry tried to puff up the hill, he slid back down again. "I need my lucky trucks back," Henry huffed. "I can't make my deliveries without them." "Must find Edward, must find Edward," chuffed Henry. Then, a snowslide came down and blocked Henry's way. "Oh, no," puffed Henry. "If I had my lucky trucks, this would never have happened." Henry puffed up the line.